Okay, I think most people are here, so let's get going. Today we're going to be talking about the YouTube ranking factors, some data on that, how to optimize your videos and your channel for that. And there's quite a lot of slides to go through. I have about 20 minutes to go through them, so I'll be speaking pretty fast, so sort of buckle in. And we'll just have a look at it, okay? Here we go. This is me, super quick. I'm from Denmark, Copenhagen. I actually have an art background, a degree that I've never used in my life. In 2013, founded a site called Novel Concept where I talk about YouTube SEO, analytics, stuff like that. 2014, started working as a YouTube and SEO consultant at a company called iProspect. I've done SEO for about 8 years, YouTube SEO for about 7 years at this point, maybe a little bit more. And I've worked with some companies like Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Huawei, stuff like that. Okay. What will actually data-wise?
I agree.
Maybe I'll just speak really loudly. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Awesome, we'll do it this way. Okay. The data that we'll go through today is basically I've gone to YouTube, analyzed a bit over 500 keywords, around 540 keywords, taken the top 100 videos for each of those, then put in about 50 data points on each of those videos. So that's around 54,000 videos and 2,700,000 different data points. And then I correlated all that data with the rankings of those individual videos in the search results, so to figure out if the way that we optimize videos are actually the right way to optimize videos, right? And this data is from 2016 Q4 to Q1 2017, right? Now, if you don't know what correlations is, it's important that we just make a quick note on that. It's okay. Essentially, correlations is sort of testing if A happens, does B also happens. And the biggest correlation that you can get is a one-to-one correlation, okay? But there's a saying, and I think most people know that one, correlation does not equal causation. That means just because something correlates well with each other doesn't mean that it's actually caused by that. So you always need to sort of like solid reasons to look at the data and say, does this actually make sense, or is it just a false correlation, right? It's possible that you can do the right thing and you can get a negative correlation for that because not enough people are doing the right thing. And if enough people are doing the wrong thing and sort of jumping on track of doing another thing is kind of okay, then you'll get a positive correlation for something that doesn't actually work. That's just something to keep in mind. And if you don't know what SEO is, it stands for Search Engine Optimization. Essentially, if there's a search field anywhere, on any website, on any app, whatever, then there's an algorithm behind that search field to determine how and what should actually show up when you give in a given search, right? Pretty basic stuff. And when we think about optimizing for YouTube and optimizing for the algorithm in general, just sort of, the algorithm on YouTube is very complicated, it's very complex, but compared to a human being, it's not brilliant, right? So if you're explaining things to the algorithm, think about it as sort of explaining things as you would to sort of a slightly dumb robot. You have to explain it very logically and very simply, right? Okay. Why even optimize for search? Well, first off, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. It's the only one, bigger one is Google, right? So, and if you had a website, if you live off a blog, and that's what you do, everyone would optimize their website for Google. It's a no-brainer. So why don't you do it for YouTube? Why not optimize your page, your channel, your videos for search on YouTube? It's great for awareness, it's great for top of mind branding, and obviously it's great for audience building. And right now, very few people are doing it, at least doing it correctly, so you can get a lot of gains with relatively low effort. And then the great thing about SEO is that you do it once, and then that video goes there, and then you don't really touch again. It's a long-term strategy, and then you'll just keep getting the views from it. When we get into the ranking factors, essentially we can divide it into two categories. There's the native factors and there's the relevancy factors. Now the native ones are essentially YouTube trying to figure out how good is your video. And that's stuff like watch time, viewer retention, user engagement, shares, even the resolution, and a bunch of other stuff. And that's YouTube trying to say, is this a good video or is it a bad video? And you don't really have an influence on this. You can try to get better watch time, obviously you can try to get better retention, but you don't determine that 100%. Then on the other hand, we have relevancy, which is how YouTube tries to figure out, well, is the video good or bad, but what's it actually about, right? In what search results should we even show this video? And you do have control over those. That's the title, description, tags, subtitles, playlist, notes, playlist, descriptions, and a ton of stuff. Now we won't go through all of it because I don't have time, but we'll try to go through some of it. We'll start with the native factors. Watch time and view duration. Total watch time, that's the total amount of minutes a video has been watched, and the average view duration, that's the average amount of minutes every view is on YouTube. You can see all the correlations. I hope it's clear. It is sort of in the right side, and you can see that's interesting because watch time is actually sort of the official metric that YouTube has come out with. But if you look at it, it's sort of in the middle of the other correlations. It's surprisingly not as important as you would expect. Not saying it's not important. It is. You should make long videos. You should make long form content. But you don't necessarily need to go absolutely extreme with it, especially not compared to some of the other things. The other one is viewer retention, which is correlated at the exact same point as watch time right now, at least in my data. Now, if I compare this to data I have before from a year ago, it looks like either viewer retention got a little bit more important or watch time got a little bit less important. Which of those I can't say, but it does look like that you still need to focus quite a lot on viewer retention. And if you don't know what viewer retention is, that's the average percent of a video that any given user watches, right, on your videos. Shares. Shares is actually the highest correlating native factor right now, which is, I think is interesting. It's much more so than watch time. The average top 10 video on YouTube seems to get around 35 shares, which is actually not that much. But you have to consider that the keywords that I've analyzed a very wide variety of keywords just to sort of avoid pitfalls. For instance, if I only analyzed keywords that were relevant to Let's Play videos, like gamers, then the data that I would have would show that the videos are very, very long because gamers make very long videos. Whereas if I did it for a lot of music videos, then I'd get like incredibly high retention because people go on YouTube, watch music videos, and then they watch it again and again and again. So some music videos actually have more than 100% retention. So that's why some of the search results that I've used here, they're just not that popular, which is why the number's that low. If we move the videos with 0 shares, then we get up to about 100 shares. And the average #1 video has around 120, but this is the strongest correlating negative factor, which makes sense. I mean, not everything on the correlations are necessarily a ranking factor. For instance, likes that we're getting to will most likely not be, but shares make sense. When someone shares a video with someone else, that's a big quality sign, right? You don't share a video that you don't think is good, and you don't share a video that you don't think someone else would enjoy. If you think it's a really bad video, you're not going to share it with your friends. So it wouldn't make sense that YouTube takes this and uses it as a factor, as an indicator if the video is good or not. Likes and dislikes. Also correlating fairly well. Not as much as the other ones. I don't think they're a ranking factor, to be honest. What I do know is a lot of brands, particularly, they're quite worried about getting too many dislikes. And at least from an algorithmic point of view, there's no difference really between getting likes and getting dislikes. It's all just engagement. And that makes sense when you consider sort of the type of videos that YouTube has to look at and find. These are some of the most disliked videos on the internet. For instance, Rebecca Black's Friday, that has 2.5 million dislikes. But when you type in Friday in YouTube, obviously that's still the most relevant video. That's the one that should be popping up. So it doesn't matter that there's a lot of dislikes. A lot of the time, dislikes just mean controversial. So again, don't worry too much about it. Obviously, you shouldn't aim for dislikes. It tends to be that users don't like the content that you're producing, but at least algorithmically, it doesn't matter. Relevance. Before we get into that, broad match versus exact match if you don't know what that is. Exact match is when you take a keyword and it's character for character is that specific keyword. So if I say I love cats, it's those specific characters and that's my exact match keyword. If we take a broad match of that, it would be I really love cats, or I like cats, I love cat, stuff like that. The close variations of that is your broad match keyword. And that's important because that's what we're getting to now. Title. Having your broad match keyword in your title is the single highest correlating factor that I have, and for if any of you have done any sort of SEO, that should be a no-brainer. Of course you need your primary keyword in the title of your video. Of course you do. It's the same thing on a website. Of course you need the keyword of whatever keyword you're going for. You need that in the page, right, in the page title. So of course you do that. The exact match keyword is slightly less important. It does look like the YouTube algorithm is quite good at figuring out what keywords are relevant towards each other. So broad match is equally good, I'd say, at least in some instances. versus exact match. A video is 3 times more likely to rank number 1 if it has the keyword in the title, and 92% of all rank 1 to 10 videos has the keyword in the title. So have the keyword in your title. Description. 68% of all rank 1 videos has the keyword at least 1 time in the description, and 25% of them had it 3 or more times. It's actually not correlating as strongly as you'd think. I mean, obviously it's still up there. It's much higher than, for instance, watch time or viewer retention, so you should have it. But this is one of the things where later when we get into how to actually optimize your videos, and on some of the last slides, I'll say use your keyword way more than this. The reason it's this average is just because people are not optimizing their videos well enough. Tags. Average top 10 video, 10 plus tags. Now there's actually, even you'll see, even the number of tags correlate positively. I don't think the number of tags is an actual ranking factor. I just have it in there so for funsies. But you do need tags. You definitely need your broad match in your tags without a doubt. Now, and you definitely need, I'd say, the exact match in your tags as well. We'll get into how to write those in a second. But you'll notice that compared to a lot of the other factors like video length, channel name, total engagement, stuff like that, the keywords in your tags are still way more important, right? So you need to do that. Let's get to actually how to optimize a video. Now, I have one slide on keyword research, and this is it, which is a shame because keyword research is incredibly, incredibly important. I just don't have the time to teach you guys. But, see, there's no point in ranking a video for a keyword that has no volume. Like, if no one searches for that keyword, it's pointless. Sure, you can have a rank 1 video there, but unless it's a very specific sort of brand perspective, it doesn't matter, right? And at the same time, there's no point in optimizing a video for a keyword that's way, way too competitive for what you're doing. So you need to actually go in and do some keyword research. The more time you spend on this, the better. The tools that I would recommend that you use for it, Google Trends. You can go on Google Trends, you can set it to YouTube, and you can set it to YouTube search, and you'll get the graphs from there. That's pretty useful. There's keywordtool.io. You can't get any volume from that, but you can get a lot of suggestions on what people actually search for that. So that's a good one. And then we have the Keyword Planner from Google. The problem with Keyword Planner is that it pulls the numbers from Google and not from YouTube. And the numbers there are quite different. For instance, we know that on YouTube, like let's say you're buying a new camera, you'd go on YouTube and you'd look for the reviews of that camera, and you'd go on Google and type, where can I buy the camera, right? So it's not optimal. But spend time on it, spend time on your keyword research. Title optimization, right? You need the keyword in your title. Absolutely, no doubt about it, you have to. It's just not an option. Preferably, put it in the beginning of the title, just so it's more obvious when people see what they search for and see it in the title. I'm guessing there's a much higher click-through rate, right? Make sure your title is click-friendly. I don't have the data to prove that click-through ratio is a ranking factor, but most people assume it is. So make sure that you actually have a click-friendly title, a click-friendly thumbnail, stuff like that. The average top 10 video actually has a relatively short title, about 55 characters. Max title length is 100 characters. So maybe keep it a little bit short, not that it's a ranking factor, but it might just be sort of a general thing on YouTube that people like the slightly shorter titles. So that's something to keep in mind. And essentially, just write it as you would a very good headline for like an article that you do on a website. Just consider the amount of characters that you have available. Description. Write out a full description. And when I say a full description, that's at least 3,000 characters. The max description is 5,000 characters. And I actually think you should write out all the 5,000 characters if you can, but at least 3,000 characters. It's fine to include useful links, like to sites, to playlists, to other videos. In fact, there's a little bit of correlation with that as well. I don't necessarily think it's a ranking factor, but it's interesting at least. But just make sure that if you link to website, that you link to good website, right? Don't have links to shady stuff, essentially, which will most likely have a negative effect on your video. Your exact match keyword, I say, use it 20 plus times in your description. Obviously, how many times you should use it depends on the length of your description, how long a description that you made. But I'd say if you write 3,000 characters, at least 20 times the exact match. And then you can have your broad match of that more times. We've ranked videos that are ranking incredibly well and are still there, where we've used the actual keyword, the exact match keyword, 50 plus times in the description. And they're ranking incredibly well. The actual sort of search algorithm on YouTube is not amazing. Compared to Google, it's not that good. You sort of have to bump it over the head a couple of times. You can go a little bit old school. When you look at optimizing for search on YouTube, I like to say it's a little bit like Google, but about 5 years ago. What you should consider is that the first 400 characters of the description is always visible on the video page. So maybe write those a little bit more nicely. The rest of it, no one reads the descriptions. Seriously. And just 140 characters, they are always visible in the search results. And that's important because we talk about click-through ratio, right? And when people search for a keyword and that keyword is in the description, that gets bolted out in the search result. And then people see that, and then we know from Google that if there's anything that makes you stand out, more people click on that video. So put it in the beginning, right? Tags. You have 500 characters to use for your tags. Use all of them. The biggest mistake I always see people make with tags is that their tags are way too spread out. You need to have all your tags, all your keywords, focused on one keyword. Find one keyword, and that's the one you go for. That's the one you go for in the title, in the description, and in your tags. What you don't want to do is, for instance, like the example on the left, right? VidCon Europe speaker, Europe, YouTube, video, marketing, SEO. Those are all relevant topics, but from an algorithmic point of view, from a logic point of view, from the dumb robot point of view, those are different topics. What you do want to go is VidCon Europe speaker, VidCon Europe, VidCon speaker, VidCon YouTube speaker, like all the variations of that you can possibly figure out, and that's your tags. Now with that said, content is still obviously important. Like you can optimize sub-optimal videos. You don't have to have the best video in the world to rank really well. You can convince the algorithm that your video is not great, but it is the most relevant video for that specific result, and it'll still rank well. But you have to consider, if it's a really bad video, why do you even want it ranking? Like, what are you gaining from that? Like, sure, like you will get the views, but who cares? Like, they're not going to convert to subscribers because it's a shit video. They're not going to convert to customers because it's a crap video. Like, at best, like you're just harming your own brand by making people look at a really bad video. So there's no point in that, right? You still need an actually good video, actual good content. It's the same on YouTube as it is on Google. The SEO should always be used in the conjunction with great content. So just keep that in mind. But with that said, I think we have about 5 minutes at this point for like some questions and stuff like that, if anyone has any. Yeah?
I have a question about descriptions.
Yeah.
For example, if I have an article on a website, can I copy-paste the text to Google description, or is it treated as duplicate content?
It's not duplicate content in the penalty sense that you think of from Google, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you're doing that, and I should add, I don't have specific data on that. This is sort of hunches from what I've worked with before. If you're doing it, do it in smaller bits and sort of put it in quotation marks as a reference, have a little link to where you got it from, then it's fine. But usually I wouldn't recommend that you just take the entire thing and paste it in. And it's the same thing between videos, like don't just use the same description for like 10 different videos. If you can, always write a unique one for all your different videos. Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah, yesterday I saw a presentation by Matthew from Leon
yeah.
and he told that you should not have a too broad approach on keywords.
Yeah.
You rather have just one single topic.
Yeah.
You told someone the opposite.
No, I'm sorry if that's how it came across, then that was badly explained. You should find one keyword and then you should go for that keyword.
Yeah.
And you should go for when we get to the tags, it's all variations of that one single keyword.
If your video has more than one topic in the video,
then you choose.
Yeah.
Then you choose the most relevant topic. Personally, I say you can go for up to 3 keywords, but those 3 keywords should all be related to each other. So it's like buy bananas, buy golden bananas, buy great golden bananas. Like that would be the 3 keywords, but you shouldn't go like buy bananas, buy apples, car. Like it should be all the same ones, right? Okay. Yeah.
How important is subtitling closed caption?
I'm sorry?
How important is to subtitle the video?
To subscribe to the video?
No.
Subtitles, sorry. I wanted to have data on that, but the tool that I use for it sort of fucked up a little bit. So I don't know. I think subtitles help, and I think having your keyword in your subtitles help, but I can't prove prove that it helps. But I think no matter what, it's just good to have the subtitles because it creates better user experience. Like you reach more people, you'll get better watch time, you'll get better attention from people that can understand the content of your video better, which will result in better rankings of your video. So no matter what, it would still be like a good idea to do. And I think at least moving forward, maybe not yet, but in the future, if YouTube is not already looking at the content of your subtitles, they will in the future. So it's just a good idea to do at this point. Yep.
You said that shares are important, shares of the video.
Looks like it, yeah.
So how would have to share the video through YouTube for YouTube to know it's been shared, right? Because if they just copy the link and share it to Facebook or something,
you can actually still find it. There's like various
So YouTube would know, okay.
But yeah, like I wouldn't worry too much about that. Sure, it's easier for YouTube and it's easier for your analytics. Like if people do it through YouTube, but you can still find it. No more questions? Oh, yeah.
I just wonder, do link shortening affect video SEO in any way, like VC and all and stuff like that?
Do you mean in the description or what?
Yeah, in the description box.
Doesn't look bad, but I would be a little bit careful with it just because a lot of spammers, a lot of affiliate marketers, stuff like that, they use Bitly and those kind of shorteners to sort of make sure that people can't say like what sort of shady websites they're going to at this point. So maybe YouTube, and I know in the past there were some of the shorteners where people started using them in sort of the black hat SEO world and noticed that their videos weren't performing that well, and they thought that might be because whenever they used those shorteners, at this point those shorteners were associated with bad content. So, but why not just use like the Google one? Like, sure, I think that one's fine. There's like the official Google shortener, so probably that one's okay. I wouldn't worry too much about it, but if you can avoid it, just use the normal link. Yep.
So Gavin mentioned yesterday it's probably not a good idea to put a YouTube video on Facebook. They don't like it.
Yeah.
But how about running that video natively on Facebook? Is there any indication that it's detrimental to YouTube rankings running also on Facebook?
No, not at all. Like if you upload your video to Facebook instead, no influence whatsoever on YouTube. Like those are two, just look at that point as two completely separate platforms. And it's too bad really because the views that you get from embedded videos and shares on stuff like Facebook and stuff like that really helps with rankings in YouTube, but it's really difficult to do for brands on Facebook because Facebook hates YouTube so much. So it's like, it's a bit of a dilemma. We're running out, we have like 3 minutes left if there's any last questions. Yeah?
And does it help if we insert the short link to video which is available on YouTube and Facebook? Does it help? Yeah, bigger reach.
Not from like an SEO standpoint, not really. I mean, the views that you get will obviously count. Like that will help towards your total watch time, and hopefully your retention, maybe some shares, so people watch the video and then share. But just the fact that you put the link in like a comment or whatever wouldn't necessarily be a big difference. And I think people
put
like
that link onto YouTube, Facebook will take it down, put it down.
right.
And if the link is short, it will help comparing to putting
Towards Facebook, I'm not sure. Like, it's not really my specialty, I'm afraid. But I think you shouldn't worry like too much about shares. Sure, like it looks like it'll help. It looks like shares are a good idea. But if you're not getting a ton of them, that doesn't mean that you can't still rank videos. Honestly, again, the title, description, and tags are by far the most important stuff for ranking your videos. And then the other things. So that's really what you should be focusing on. Yeah, last one.
What about the web series? Would you use the same description, title, and text for a different series?
No.
Or
Again, like every description, in a perfect world, every single description is a unique description. It's fine to use bits of it, but no, always unique ones. And I think that's the sign that I should...
No, did you give up on the microphone?
Yeah.
Can you all hear him?
Yeah, he's loud, isn't he? All right, cool. I was just some of the questions were. I think you have time for one more question if you want.
Is there a last question then? All right, no.
See, I cut you off. All right. Are you going to run a presentation or anything? Okay. Okay. Do you have?
My